You've done it. You and your children have, somehow, against all odds, survived through to these last few days of Lent. Though for a while there it looked like you might succumb to acute lack of coffee, Netflix, Facebook, you've made it. And now you need to figure out how to make Holy Week solemn, meaningful, and memorable for your kids, without a whole lot of effort or advanced planning on your part. So what exactly does Holy Week look like in a faithful Catholic home? That's a trick question. There's no one way to be Catholic, and there's no one way to do Holy Week. But I will tell you what we usually do, and that I haven't started any of it yet, and that it's worked for us in the past. If I can do it, you can do it. I'll include references to some Catholic All Year products on the screen and link to them in the notes in case that's helpful. But if you haven't set aside a budget for Holy Week, that's okay too. When I started doing all this stuff with my family 15 years ago, I put everything we used together myself, mostly using things I had around the house. Okay, let's get to it. First up, we're going to talk about Monday of Holy Week. In our house, we use the first 3 days of Holy Week to do our biggest house cleaning and stuff purging of the year. People talk about spring cleaning. That's too open-ended for me. I need more of a, these are the only 3 days of the year you could possibly do this, and it's for Jesus feel to make it happen. You can get a free Holy Week cleaning checklist that you can print out from CatholicAllYear.com, and we use that to keep track of things. And on Monday, we clean the living spaces and specifically clean out toys, desks, and craft supplies. This is a great time for a big toy purge. Since I'm not naturally a very tidy and organized person, I found that the best thing I can do towards keeping the house clean is to regularly get rid of half of our toys and craft supplies and even books. I just keep the stuff I actually like. It's revolutionary, I'm telling you. Fewer toys in my house means less mess, less cleaning, less yelling, and more family interaction. I can't recommend it enough. I'll also finish up our Easter baskets. I'm focusing on practical, lovely things that won't fill our house back up with junk. Each child is going to get things like a new pair of shoes, a new swimsuit, a couple religious or outside toys or books, and some candy. That's it. Monday is also the day that St. Mary of Bethany anointed Jesus with Nard perfume. We have this little Catholic All Year bottle of actual Nard perfume, which allows us to smell the same smell that Jesus did on this day. I think that's so cool. Next up, we have Tuesday of Holy Week, and on Tuesday the cleaning continues with sleeping spaces. We tidy up upstairs desks and bedside tables, and we clean out the clothes. The method that works best for us is to pull all the clothes out of each closet and only put back in a reasonable amount. Drawers that close easily and some wiggle room between hangers makes it much easier for kids to keep their closets tidy. We do laundry nearly every day, and we have much more in the closets than we actually use in a week. It's time to pass those things along to people who could actually use them and make our closets a little more manageable. Also, if stained, ripped, cartoon character adorned shirts aren't in their closets, they can't wear them, which is a big plus in my book. I'll also finalize the guest list for our Good Friday fish fry and Easter Sunday dinner and make up my shopping list for the food we'll need for the rest of the week. And then the fun starts on Spy Wednesday, but not until cleaning the house part 3. So on Wednesday, we'll tidy eating spaces. The kitchen will get cleaned, including inside the drawers and refrigerator. We'll also organize the dining room shelves. Then it's called Spy Wednesday because it's the day that Judas sneakily betrayed Jesus, now selling the information of when he'd be in a place where he could be conveniently arrested to the high priest for 30 pieces of silver. So we'll read that story in the Bible. It's Matthew 26, 1 through 6. And I'll hide 30 pieces of silver. We use quarters or chocolate coins in one area of the house for the kids to find. We started doing this a few years ago, and it's always an interesting social experiment. My mostly kind and pleasant kids have been known to turn into a bunch of Judases themselves. They've pushed past each other, grabbed quarters that other kids had spotted first but couldn't reach, and babies have been knocked over, all over 30 pieces of silver. These days they kind of know what to expect from it, so it's not quite so dramatic, but it's still fun. And they know that they'll allow themselves to be convinced to donate the quarters to the poor box and save the chocolate to eat on Easter. But it's still a lot of fun. Wednesday evening is the first night of the very cool and very unique Tenebrae service, done only Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of Holy Week. We do an at-home version with this very cool Tenebrae Hearse Candelabra, but you can use any 15 candles you've got in a drawer someplace. Next up is Holy Thursday. Hopefully the 3-day manic house cleaning was successful because now things get pretty busy. We do a modified 7 churches visitation. This is a Catholic tradition that began with St. Alphonsus Liguori in Italy in the 18th century. After the Mass of the Last Supper on Holy Thursday, the Eucharist isn't again consecrated until the Easter Vigil. The hosts consecrated at that Thursday Mass are removed from the church and placed in what's called an altar of repose in a location outside the church. In order to emulate the disciples who followed behind Jesus as he went from place to place after the Last Supper on Thursday, St. Alphonsus with his friends would visit the altars of repose at the 7 pilgrim churches of Rome on foot after the Mass of the Last Supper. That sounds really amazing, but also not very practical for where I live in Los Angeles and my current state of life, which includes many small children. So I remember the advice of my late grandfather, who used to say, better is the enemy of good enough, and we do it during the day in the car. Perhaps someday I'll do it at night, on foot, in silence, but so far, doing it during the day in a car full of noisy little kids has been great. Then we come home and prepare for our Last Supper dinner. For dinner, we'll approximate what Jesus and the disciples ate and have lamb chops, a bitter herb salad, flatbread, applesauce, and niches. On Holy Thursday, we commemorate something happy, the institution of the Eucharist, along with the sad, Jesus' agony and arrest. So in addition to our bitter herbs, of which the kids must have a little, we also have a Rice Krispie lamb cake. I can't vouch for the historical accuracy of that part, but it is fun and tasty. Then we attend a Holy Thursday Mass and come home for a family foot washing extravaganza. We draw names and everyone washes and gets washed, and we'll do the home Tenebrae service again. If we can find the time, we'll also watch The Prince of Egypt. It covers the 10 plagues and the Passover, so it's especially appropriate for the day. It really is a wonderful movie. Then comes Good Friday. Good Friday is meant to be a day of fasting and of solemn reflection. My kids aren't very good at that, and frankly, neither am I, but we do our best. We'll start the day with hot cross buns because even though they're a tasty treat, I figure if they were Catholic enough for Elizabeth I to outlaw, that ought to be good enough for me. In the late morning, we usually walk to our local parish, visit the empty Adoration Chapel, and venerate the cross. We have a fasting collation lunch, and we read aloud from the Bible the story of the Passion, Crucifixion, and death of our Lord. One version can be found in Matthew 27:11-66. During nap time, I'll give the older kids a quiet craft or project, like Stations of the Cross coloring pages. After naps, in order to encourage quiet, I often put on a movie for the kids called The Miracle Maker, The Story of Jesus. It's a claymation type style and pretty great. VeggieTales Jonah and the Whale is another option, since Jonah in the whale for 3 days is an archetype for Jesus in the tomb for 3 days. And hey, you get to teach your kids the word archetype. They'll be so impressed. For dinner, we always invite friends over for a simple Lenten catfish fry in honor of my mom's Southern heritage. And we do the Stations of the Cross and the last of the Tenebrae services. Next up is Holy Saturday, a day of silence and waiting. Here are a few things we don't do. We don't attend Easter egg hunts, or attend Easter dinners, or abandon our Lenten disciplines, or otherwise pretend that it's already Easter when Jesus' body is still in the tomb. Here's what we do. We dye our Easter eggs. We take down all of our Lent decorations. We decorate for Easter, and we begin preparations for Easter dinner. We do preparation things, but not celebration things. If we have some extra time, we'll get out of the house for a hike or a walk to keep the house from getting messed up again, which is a real problem around here, since everyone keeps eating and wearing clothes, even though I just cleaned all that stuff. Once it gets dark, we'll light our family Paschal Candle and do a little at-home lucinarium for the little kids. A grown-up will take just the big kids to the Vigil Mass, which is always a big deal for them, especially since it means getting to break their Lenten fast of treats many hours before their sleeping brothers and sisters, and the beauty and majesty of the Easter Vigil and all that, but also treats early. The Easter Bunny comes and fills our Easter baskets and changes our Lenten sacrifice beans into jelly beans. And then it's Easter Sunday, and there is much rejoicing. We dig up the Alleluia that we buried in the yard on Ash Wednesday. We sing O Filii et Filiae loudly. We really hit those Alleluias since it's been a while. We find that our Lenten sacrifice beans have been turned to jelly beans. We have our baskets and an Easter egg hunt, and we get all dressed up to go to Mass as a family. and we have a big, lovely ham dinner, and I'm going to be having a couple Dr. Peppers at least. So that's what we do. As I always have to say at the end of these things, it sounds like a lot, I know. But somehow it's been manageable for us over many years, and my kids really enjoy and benefit from these traditions. Even in the midst of Holy Week sacrifices, Holy Week traditions are something we all look forward to. If you're just getting started, I recommend starting small with a few things that sounded cool and or doable for your family. Check the notes for links to items and posts, and if you want stuff like this for the whole year, check out my books from Ignatius Press, the Catholic All-Year Compendium and the Catholic All-Year Prayer Companion. As a note, Ignatius Press also has many other lovely books for children and adults that would fit just right in your Easter baskets, so check those out as well. You can do this, and Catholic All Year is here to help.